I'm Azaria Tagaya, and this is Nightline, the top stories. 4 major institutional reform bills to be tabled in Parliament next year. And websites go down globally as outage hits internet infrastructure company Cloudflare. We begin the bulletin with this story. A key, often hidden piece of the internet's infrastructure suffered a global outage on Tuesday, causing error messages to flash across numerous websites. The issue was traced back to Cloudflare, a US company that defends millions of websites against malicious attacks. The unidentified problem meant internet users temporarily lost access to some of its customers' sites. Major platforms, including X and OpenAI, failed to load, with error messages directly indicating a problem with the Cloudflare service. Down detectors said the outage is still ongoing, but as of 9 p.m., the company reported that services are recovering. Despite this, customers may still observe higher than normal error rates as they continue remediation efforts. The exact cause of the service disruption remains under investigation. 4 major institutional reform bills, including the long-awaited Political Financing Act, are expected to be tabled in Parliament next year. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the 4 bills are currently undergoing the requisite procedures before they can be tabled in the Dewan Rakyat. The 3 other proposed laws cover the Ombudsman, freedom of information and the separation of powers between the Attorney General and Public Prosecutor.
Keempat-empat itu sekarang di dalam libat urus. Dia ada proses di Parlimen, Senat Komiti, dia ada proses libat urus dengan peguam pelbagai kalangan yang harus diberikan perhatian sebelum dimuktamadkan RUU. Jadi saya setuju dengan Yang Berhormat bahawa hal ini diutamakan dan ada menurut Menteri Berkenaan, RUU itu boleh dibentangkan tahun depan. Sebahagiannya awal, sebahagiannya pertengahan.
Amendments to the Whistleblower Protection Act will also be tabled, which will include stronger safeguards and incentives for whistleblowers. In the meantime, monitoring of the National Anti-Corruption Strategy 2024 to 2028 continues on a regular basis. Also in the Dewan Rakyat, Anwar revealed that Malaysia has recorded a surplus of 700 million ringgit in its services account in the third quarter of 2025, the first time in 14 years. The milestone reflected the government's careful economic planning and fiscal discipline. Anwar said targeted subsidy rationalisation and the restructuring of development spending had gradually reduced the deficit, while also strengthening investor confidence in Malaysia's economy.
Satu angka yang sangat menarik yang saya nak sebut di sini, iaitu defisit kita dulu ini memang jadi masalah. Tetapi pada tahun 2025, angka suku ketiga, kita pertama kali dapat lebihan dan tidak lagi defisit setelah 14 tahun. Setelah 14 tahun defisit perkhidmatan.
Anwar, who's also the finance minister, added that the ringgit is now Asia's best performing currency, reflecting market confidence in the government's policies. As of Friday, the ringgit had strengthened by 8.21% against the greenback. On Tuesday, it was trading at around 4.14 ringgit per US dollar. The Football Association of Malaysia FAM is under intense scrutiny after the FIFA Appeal Committee ordered a full probe into its internal operations following a document falsification scandal involving 7 naturalised players. The committee, which upheld its sanctions on November 3rd, released a 63-page motivated decision on Tuesday, revealing damning details that have raised questions about FAM's governance. FIFA said the investigation must identify those responsible for the forged documents and assess whether FAM's compliance and governance systems are adequate. It also said additional disciplinary action against FAM officials may be necessary. The report names FAM Secretary General Datuk Nur Azman Rahman and 2 licensed FIFA agents, Nicholas Pupo and Federico Moraes, whose roles must be closely examined due to serious concerns about their involvement. FIFA has also ordered a separate inquiry into the fielding of ineligible players in 3 friendly matches to determine how they were allowed to participate and whether further sanctions are required. Given the gravity of the offence, including the forgery of official documents, FIFA has directed its secretariat to notify criminal authorities in Brazil, Argentina, the Netherlands, Spain and Malaysia for possible legal action. FIFA stressed that player eligibility is a fundamental principle upholding the integrity of international football, and any attempt to deceive governing bodies is quote-unquote a serious breach that cannot be tolerated. In September, FAM was fined 350,000 Swiss francs, while the 7 players received 12-month bans and were fined 2,000 Swiss francs each. Meanwhile, the FAM said it will take its case to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, or CAS, after FIFA rejected the association's appeal on the eligibility of 7 Malaysian heritage players. In a statement on Tuesday, Acting President Datuk Muhammad Yusof Mahadi said they have received the full written reasoning behind FIFA's decision and will now initiate proceedings with CAS. This next step, he added, will ensure that justice is upheld and to defend the player eligibility process set by the Malaysian government and relevant bodies. Yusof assured that FAM remains committed to fighting for the rights of all national players and that every step taken will be done professionally, transparently and through the proper legal channels. Advancements in artificial intelligence have accelerated the scale and sophistication of online threats against children, making regional cooperation and stronger national safeguards more urgent than ever. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi warned of AI that now enables predators to clone voices, create deep fake images and manipulate children's identities. Zahid was speaking at the launch of the National Child Policy and the National Child Action Plan 2026 to 2030 at the 2025 ASEAN ICT Forum on Child Online Protection on Tuesday. He said the situation is compounded by a lack of awareness across the region.
Online harm has no borders. A predator does not need a passport. A dangerous video does not stop at immigration. Remember this. One harmful post can reach 11 ASEAN countries in minutes. This is why ASEAN collective actions is not only important, it is essential.
Zahid added that about 33% of young Malaysians surveyed have reported being victims of online bullying. According to the DPM, Malaysia, under its ASEAN chairmanship, places families and communities at the centre of its agenda. He said ASEAN has strong foundations, including the ASEAN Declaration on Online Abuse and Exploitation and the Regional Plan of Action. But the region now needed a more effective, higher impact cooperation. Malaysia will continue to advance the International Telecommunications Union's ITU's global mandate as it looks to secure re-election to the ITU Council for the 2027 to 2030 term. Communications Minister Datuk Fahmi Fadil affirmed Malaysia's commitment to advancing universal and affordable connectivity by fostering collaboration. According to Fahmi, Malaysia's focus will also include strengthening digital trust and cybersecurity resilience alongside deepening regional and multi-stakeholder cooperation to foster an inclusive digital economy.
Our vision remains clear: to build a digital future where everyone is connected, inclusive and safe, anytime, anywhere. To this end, Malaysia humbly seeks the valuable support of all member states for our candidature to the ITU Council for the term of 2027 to 2030.
He said this in a speech at the World Telecommunication Development Conference 2025 in Baku, Azerbaijan. Fahmi added that the summit's recognition of initiatives like the National Digital Network Plan, Jendela, and the National Information Dissemination Centre, NADI, affirms Malaysia's belief that digital inclusion and innovation are key to empowering people and transforming lives. Malaysia is also looking to further strengthen its cybersecurity, privacy and data protection frameworks through the nationwide online safety campaign. Pakatan Harapan candidates are positioning their campaign on fulfilling commitments and showcasing a record of concrete achievements rather than introducing a slate of new promises. PKR Deputy President Nurul Izzah Anwar said candidates should make their track record and achievements known so that voters can better assess their performance.
Menunaikan segala yang telah dibawa harapan orang Sabah, insya-Allah. So clear, it's not here, bukan kita nak menanam rasa benci, melawan dan sebagainya. Pada saya lebih kepada menunaikan janji demi kebajikan orang Sabah.
Nurul Izzah earlier joined a ziarah kasih walkabout in Kampung Dambai, Inanam. Also present was PH's Inanam candidate, Datuk Pito Galim, who is up against a 13-cornered contest for the seat. He remains confident that his service record in the previous term will resonate with voters.
Saya boleh katakan kita boleh deliver 2 kali apa yang kita boleh deliver sekarang. Kerana kita mempunyai cara kerja yang betul, kerjasama yang betul antara negeri dan kawasan.
Barisan Nasional, meanwhile, is facing stiff competition, particularly in constituencies where the opponents are fielding more experienced candidates. Coalition Deputy Chairman Datuk Sri Muhammad Hassan said despite the challenges, he remains confident that BN can succeed. Muhammad stressed that success does not depend on the size or position of rival parties, but on the effectiveness of the entire campaign machinery.
Jangan kita rasa kita kecil kerana kita bersaing dengan apa yang Puan kata tadi, 2 gergasi. Tetapi gergasi tak semestinya sentiasa berdiri tegap. Ya? Kerana kita perlu berlaku sebagai anak-anak ini. Kita makan sikit-sikit.
He also urged all BN members and supporters to work diligently to convey their message to voters across the 45 state constituencies where the coalition is contesting. He spoke to reporters after joining a meet-and-greet session in Kampung Bin Suluk, Mumbakot ahead of the campaign. BN has fielded Datuk Muhammad Alamin in the Bongawan state seat, while Rosman Dulamit is representing BN in Mumbakot. The Pakatan Harapan candidate for the Silam seat will remain on the ballot paper despite announcing his intention to withdraw from contesting in the state election. Announcing its decision, the Election Commission said it was aware of the candidate's intention to pull out, but emphasized that withdrawal was not permitted under the existing regulations. The EC, in a statement, cited Regulation 9 of the Election Regulations 1981, which states that no candidate may withdraw once nominations close at 10 a.m. on nomination day. EC Secretary Datuk Khairul Shahril Idrus said the Commission noted that the Pakatan Harapan candidate for the Silam state seat, Abdul Halim Siddiq Gulam Hassan, had declared his intention to withdraw on Monday. Halim's name, however, will remain on the ballot paper for the constituency. Halim had reportedly announced his withdrawal from contesting after consulting PH's top leadership. Malaysia will increase palm oil production to meet rising global demand following Indonesia's implementation of the B50 biodiesel program next year. Plantation and Commodities Minister Datuk Sri Johari Abdul Ghani said the effort will be carried out without the need to open new land for cultivation.
The focus is basically based on good planting material, good agriculture practices, and we focus on increasing our yield rather than increasing our land use. So that will be good for the industry, and price will be steady.
Johari added that the government will ensure that all industry players obtain the Malaysian Sustainable Palm Oil or MSPO certification. Malaysia's palm oil production has reached 19.5 million tonnes a year, with palm oil prices remaining stable above 4,000 ringgit per tonne. Malaysia has recorded 285.2 billion ringgit in approved investments for the first 9 months of this year, a 13% increase compared with the same period last year. According to the Malaysian Investment Development Authority, MIDA, the strong performance reflects the country's economic resilience despite a volatile global environment. A total of 4,874 projects were approved across the services, manufacturing and primary sectors and are expected to create over 152,000 jobs. Foreign direct investment surged 47% to 150 billion ringgit, led by Singapore, China, the United States, the British Virgin Islands and Japan. Johor recorded the highest investment value at 91 billion ringgit, driven largely by the Johor-Singapore Special Economic Zone, followed by Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, Pulau Pinang and Kedah. The services sector remained the biggest contributor, supported by Malaysia's growing role as a regional hub for data centres, digital services and logistics. Meanwhile, the manufacturing sector attracted nearly 94 billion ringgit, primarily boosted by the electrical and electronics, chemicals and transport equipment industries. 112 Bitcoin mining machines seized in Perlis. More from the local front after this breather.
Michelin innovates through cutting-edge tests, from microscopic compounds to extreme simulated road conditions, so you can trust your tires for longer. Michelin, motion for life.
Apa kata kalau kita pergi Ipoh?
Melaka dengan Johor pun best juga.
Beg siapa yang tertinggal ni? Mana ambil lah.
Kelahiran semula film Ada Apa Dengan Cinta, kini hadir Rangga dan Cinta di Pawagam. Beli tiketnya sekarang.
Dikatakan dipukul bertubi-tubi di atas kepala.
Sebab dia geram, selalu kena marah ni, dia takkan pada kepala dia.
Ada seorang pencuci mendapati wanita ini terbaring berlumuran darah.
Mangsa ini sedang mengandung 5 bulan.
Baca doa dulu. Allah Akbar, lupa. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma aftahli abwaba rahmatika. Ya Allah, bukakanlah pintu-pintu rahmatmu untuk kami. Amin ya rabbal alamin.
Lagi satu jangan lupa, kita kena niat iktikaf dulu. Okey. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nawaitu li'iktikaf fil hazal masjid lillahi ta'ala. Sahaja aku beriktikaf dalam masjid ni kerana Allah Ta'ala. Baru boleh masuk. Ini tak lupa. Jom.
Sorry lah.
Back with us on Nightline, construction work on a section of the Middle Ring Road 2 or MRR2 towards Batu Caves has been halted after a temporary steel frame collapsed onto a moving vehicle early on Tuesday. The incident occurred during road underbridge works for the East Coast Rail Link or ECRL project. ECRL owner Malaysia Rail Link Sendirian Berhad said all construction in the area has been suspended pending a full investigation. In the incident, a woman escaped unhurt when a steel frame part of the ECRL construction structure crashed onto her car as she was driving on Jalan MRR2 near Batu Caves. A fire and rescue team from Selayang was dispatched to the scene after receiving a distress call at 1:47 p.m. The woman, P. Gogilavani, had already been rescued by members of the public before fire and rescue personnel arrived at the scene. There were no reports of injuries sustained in the incident, which caused bottlenecks in both directions. A company suspected of being part of a luxury vehicle trading cartel failed to report actual income from sales transactions, estimated at about 70 million ringgit. The Inland Revenue Board, or IRB, said this followed an enforcement operation conducted on the company's business premises, the home of its director, and an audit firm in the Klang Valley. During the operation, searches were conducted to obtain documents and evidence related to tax non-compliance. In a statement, the IRB said initial findings showed that the company failed to declare its actual income from sales transactions amounting to an estimated 70 million ringgit. The case is being investigated under the Income Tax Act for offences allegedly committed by both the company and its director. The operation forms part of the government's efforts to clamp down on cartels and long-standing smuggling syndicates whose activities have been detrimental to national revenue. The IRB said its ongoing and upcoming prosecution actions also cover cases linked to gold mining activities, scams, misuse of welfare status to disguise transactions, gambling proceeds, illicit activities, and foreign-owned businesses that fail to report income. IRB Chief Executive Datuk Dr. Abu Tariq Jamaluddin said the operation was part of the agency's targeted approach to strengthening tax compliance, especially in high-value sectors such as luxury vehicle trading. He said non-compliance involving such large sums not only undermines national revenue but also threatens the fairness of the tax system and must not be taken lightly. Search efforts for a man swept away by a sudden surge of water in Sungai Kelang near the Saloma Link, Kuala Lumpur on Monday have so far been unsuccessful as the water level has risen to nearly 6 meters following a heavy downpour on Tuesday morning. In a 20-kilometer search and rescue operation, no clues so far have come to light on the victim's whereabouts. Dangwangi District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Sazali Adam said searches on the water surface and surrounding areas have been ongoing since early Tuesday afternoon. However, the search operation on the second day was called off at 6:30 p.m. The search will continue on Wednesday with assistance from the K9 unit as well as divers from various agencies. The search will be focused on the surface of the river with drones deployed to aid the effort. The incident, which occurred at about 5:30 p.m. on Monday, also affected 11 other individuals trapped under a bridge, all of whom were successfully rescued by the Fire and Rescue Department. In Perlis, police busted a Bitcoin mining operation in 3 separate raids in Kuala Perlis and Kanga, with total seizures worth over 400,000 ringgit. In one of the raids, a man in his 20s was arrested, while 112 Bitcoin mining machines were seized. State Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Abdul Halim said the operation, conducted last Thursday and Saturday, followed a joint investigation with Tenaga Nasional Berhad, which led authorities to several premises rented by the syndicate over the past 2 months.
Dia memang premis dia ada, tapi daripada apa yang kita dapat, pihak syndicate lah itu ya, yang melaksanakan aktiviti ini menggunakan rumah-rumah kedai, yang ada di sekitar Perlis ni.
Police also seized computer equipment, CCTV cameras and various other tools used by the syndicate. TNB estimated losses of about 150,000 ringgit due to illegal electricity tapping at the 3 locations. The suspect has been remanded until November 20th. Hamas rejects UNSC's resolution. The details when Nightline returns.
Michelin innovates through cutting-edge tests, from microscopic compounds to extreme simulated road conditions, so you can trust your tires for longer. Michelin, motion for life.
Kita punya favorite movie daripada kecil, so sekarang dia dah renew kembali. Filem ni membawa saya flashback kepada masa-masa SMA saya.
It's a very fun watch because this time it's a very good approach buat musician.
Fresh, tangkap hati korang in different way.
Excited banget gimana dibuat di tahun 2025 ini. Saya rasa selepas saya tengok sini, saya rasa macam nak bercinta, Pak. Saya
8/10.
Aku bagi 100 out of 10. 9.9 out of 10.
Sekarang kan tengah musim hujan dan banjir. Jika anda tidak mampu menyelamatkan masa banjir, carilah bantuan daripada pihak yang pakar dalam kerja menyelamat. Jangan bahayakan diri anda. Fikir sebelum bertindak. Anda mampu menyelamatkan nyawa.
Dikatakan dipukul bertubi-tubi di atas kepala.
Sebab dia geram, selalu kena marah ni, dia takkan pada kepala dia.
Ada seorang pencuci mendapati wanita ini terbaring berlumuran darah.
Mangsa ini sedang mengandung 5 bulan.
Dayah, kalau pergi majlis kahwin, awak bagi duit tak?
Mestilah bagi. Salam kaut kan antara budaya dan hukum.
Saya sakit pinggang bila malam tadi sampai ke kaki sakit.
Okey, ini macam simptom sakit saya, Tika. Nak tanya, kawasan rumah awak ada musang tak?
Musang, kucing banyaklah.
Sekarang ni banyak kes musang masuk rumah orang.
Jaga-jaga, tantah musang tu orang hantar sihir.
Awak ni kenapa cakap macam tu?
Zaman digital ni sekarang sihir orang boleh hantar guna media sosial tau.
Semuanya di MHI Isnin hingga Jumaat.
Eksklusif ditonton dan DVD 3.
On to the foreign front, the United Nations Security Council has approved a US-drafted resolution supporting President Donald Trump's Gaza peace plan, which calls for an international stabilization force and sets out a path towards a future Palestinian state. The resolution, endorsing Trump's 20-point plan, passed with 13 votes in favor and none against, while Russia and China abstained. The plan authorizes the deployment of an international stabilization force to work with Israel, Egypt, and newly trained Palestinian police to secure border areas, demilitarize the Gaza Strip, and protect humanitarian aid corridors. It also authorizes the formation of a Board of Peace, a transitional governing body for Gaza, which Trump would theoretically chair, with a mandate running until the end of 2027. Trump praised the vote, calling it one of the biggest approvals in UN history and saying it would bring further peace around the world. Meanwhile, Hamas has rejected the resolution, saying it imposes an international guardianship mechanism on the Gaza Strip. In a statement, the group said the resolution fails to meet the political and humanitarian demands of Palestinians. It argued that giving an international force powers inside Gaza, including disarming the resistance, strips the force of neutrality and makes it a party to the conflict in favor of the occupation. Hamas added that any international force, if established, should be deployed only at the borders to separate forces, monitor a ceasefire and operate strictly under UN supervision. Thailand's Supreme Court on Monday ordered former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra to pay 17.6 billion baht or $552 million in taxes from a 2006 share sale, reviving a case that led to his ouster 19 years ago. The court overturned an earlier appeals court ruling, effectively forcing Thaksin to comply with the Revenue Department's tax order. The case centres on his 2006 sale of shares in Shin Corp, the telecommunications giant he founded, to Singapore's Temasek Holdings, a deal that raised public outrage over possible conflicts of interest and allegations of tax evasion. The controversy, which saw the Shinawatra family pocket about $1.9 billion in profits, triggered mass protests that eventually ended in a military coup. The 76-year-old, one of Thailand's wealthiest figures, is currently serving time for corruption related to his time in office. On to sports now. Football and the 2027 AFC Asian Cup qualifiers. Harimau Malaya closed the year unbeaten after edging Nepal 1-0 in their Group F clash on Tuesday night. Chances were limited, but the breakthrough arrived in the 55th minute when Faisal Halim finished off a fine pass from Safawi Rashid. Nepal went down to 10 men in stoppage time, conceding a penalty which Paulo Josue sent over the bar. Malaysia remained perfect with 5 wins and will face Vietnam on March 31st next year in a decisive group finale, while awaiting the AFC's ruling on the heritage player issue. Turning to badminton, the 2025 Australian Open national men's doubles shuttlers started their campaign on a high note, with Chung Hon-Jian and Muhammad Haikal Nazri pulling off a stunning upset on Tuesday. Hon-Jian and Haikal reasserted themselves with a superb 21-10, 21-12 win against world number 12 Li Zhihui, Yang Po-Xuan of Taiwan. They will next face Indonesia's world number 32 Raymond Indra and Nicholas Wakim, with the prospect of an all-Malaysian quarterfinal against Man Wei Chong and T Kai Woon looming. Earlier, Wei Chong and Kai Woon brushed aside injury worries with a composed 23-21, 21-16 win over Taiwan's Chiang Chien-Wei, Wu Xuan-Yi. They next take on Denmark's Christian Forst Kjær and Rasmus Kjær, who edged Malaysians Nur Azrin Ayub and Tan Wee Kiong in 3 games. Independent pair Goh Zifei and Norizuddin Rumsani also stormed into the second round after dismantling Taiwan's He Ziwei, Wang Juishuan, 21-10, 21-10 in just 24 minutes. They're likely to face another Taiwanese pair, Liu Kuang-heng, Yang Po-han, in the next round. Well, that's it from us. Before we leave, let's head to the Hong Kong Palace Museum, where an exciting exhibition is showcasing 250 artifacts from Egyptian institutions. I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.